We have another big injury and waiver wire pitchers to talk about up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Monday, September 11th. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Scott White. And unfortunately, we've got to talk about the big bad news from the weekend. This is why we can't have nice things. Jasson Dominguez diagnosed with a torn UCL. No surgery is scheduled as of yet, and there have been some timelines floated about on Twitter, on Yankees Twitter, 9 to 10 months, something like that. So maybe we see Jasson Dominguez again next year, June or July. Obviously, we could drop him in redraft leagues, but all around, Scott, it sucks for this year, and it sucks for next year because this is a really exciting player.
Yeah, it is. But I do like to keep things in perspective. There are worse injuries for a hitter than this. You know, if a pitcher suffered a torn UCL like this, we'd be saying, see you in 2025, and we're going to see Jasson Dominguez next year, presuming nothing goes wrong in the rehabilitation. This is usually a pretty straightforward recovery for a hitter, and they come back fine. I mean, there are fewer complications when your elbow is less involved in your mechanics, obviously, than for a pitcher. So, if there was no guarantee he was going to make the Yankees opening day roster next year anyway. It looked like he probably would based on the kind of start he was off to, but there was no guarantee. And now there's less of a guarantee. But the timeline and the effect that it has on the fantasy game may not actually change that much apart from this final month.
All right, let's talk waiver wire pitchers, and we'll start with this first group that includes Mike Clevenger. He threw 7 shutout innings with 7 strikeouts this weekend. He is at home against the Royals this upcoming week. Kyle Hendricks had an okay start this weekend. He is at the Diamondbacks. Christopher Sanchez, 5 shutout innings with 4 strikeouts against the Marlins, and he is home against the Braves this week. Yikes. And Michael King, who's being stretched out as a starter with the Yankees, tied a career high with 9 strikeouts against the Brewers. 5 innings, 2 runs. One of those was earned. He is at the Red Sox this week, Scott. So how are you ranking those pitchers? I think we're just focusing solely on matchups this point of the year, but how would you rank Michael King, Sanchez, Kyle Hendricks, and Mike Clevenger?
Yeah, I mean, it is challenging this time of year because you're not just assessing the pitcher, you're assessing, you almost have to take it week to week and how usable are they for the upcoming week. I don't think any of them are that usable. So, I mean, from if we were doing this mid-season, let's say, I'd go Kyle Hendricks, Michael King, Christopher Sanchez, Mike Clevenger. Clevenger facing the Royals is certainly more startable than Christopher Sanchez facing the Braves, but just because Clevenger came through with this good matchup against the Tigers doesn't mean he'll come through in every good matchup. Case in point, his previous game. So he dominated the Tigers this time around. His previous start was also against the Tigers, and he allowed 8 runs on 12 hits in 4 innings. So I don't know that I trust him even against the Royals. I trust him more than Christopher Sanchez against the Braves, but I don't trust Clevenger that much, regardless of the matchup, ultimately.
All right, let's look at this next group of pitchers, and it includes Ranger Suarez, who struck out 10 against the Marlins on Sunday. He is at the Cardinals this upcoming week. Again, that's Ranger Suarez. Jameson Taillon turned in a great start against the D-backs. He threw 6 shutout innings with 9 strikeouts, and he is at the Rockies this week. No thanks. Reese Olson, back-to-back quality starts, and he is at home against the Reds. And Logan Allen, he threw 5 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts at the Angels this weekend, and he is at the Giants. So a pretty good matchup there, Scott. How would you rank those? Logan Allen at the Giants, Reese Olson versus the Reds, and Ranger Suarez at the Cardinals.
So the only one of these pitchers that are among my 10 sleeper pitchers for this upcoming scoring period is Logan Allen. And even he's only 10th among the 10, which is usually not a very good recommendation. The reason he's on it is because San Francisco, who's facing next week, 4th lowest OPS against lefties. And Logan Allen is a lefty. So I'll say Allen 1, Ranger Suarez 2, Reese Olson 3, Jameson Taillon, but not that motivated to start any again.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Audacy app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.